If you want to make the next 100 days the best of your life, you need to understand that this is a game of you versus you. Who you are now versus who you want to be. And look, we all know that 7-day, 30-day challenges get a bunch of clicks on YouTube. But if your experience is anything like mine, a 7-day challenge just means that I went to the gym a couple times and my legs are sore. A 30-day challenge is a little bit more, but in 100? Man, in 100 days, I think you can really change your life. And what I learned in doing this 100-day challenge is the only thing standing between you and success is right here. It's inside of your brain. And so I created this video to show you the framework that I use to not only create a vision for what the best 100 days of my life could look like, but how I actually executed on it. So the first step to making the next 100 days the best of your life is to understand what you're up against. And what you're up against is a brain that is very happy just being comfortable and safe. To understand how your brain makes decisions, we need to become familiar with a term called cognitive bias. And cognitive bias all starts in the late 1960s in a university in Jerusalem. So there are these two professors, Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman. And what they end up winning the Nobel Prize for is this idea called prospect theory. And prospect theory essentially has two really important conclusions. First, your brain is predictably irrational, so there's consistency in its flawed thinking. And second, and this is super important, humans are overwhelmingly more motivated by the fear of losing than the gain of winning. Essentially, we have a negativity bias. So if your brain can decide between keeping you safe and improving your life, it's going to choose keeping you safe every single time. So once you understand that your brain is designed to keep you as that comfortable, day zero version of yourself, and it does so in a predictable way, you can start to set smarter goals that allow you to live the best 100 days of your life. So the second step to making the next 100 days the best of your life is to focus on important but non-urgent tasks. So in the past, I'd make this mistake all the time. I'd get really motivated and I'd create this really big to-do list because I equated busyness with productivity. And really, that's just a recipe for disaster. What you end up doing is just working on all the wrong things. You need to slow down and prioritize. Many CEOs are taught that if they want to make transformative changes in the world, they need to follow something called the Eisenhower Matrix. You should use it too. In the Eisenhower Matrix, there are 4 types of goals: urgent and important, urgent and non-important, those that are non-urgent but important, and those that are neither urgent nor important. So your subconscious negatively focused mind is just going to want to focus on urgent tasks, both important and non-important ones. And what this ends up looking like is a day of you just putting out fires and trying to keep your head above water. It doesn't include you working on anything that could be transformative in your life. So to create transformative change in your life, you should use the Eisenhower Matrix. And what you want to do is you want to spend as much time as you can in the top right corner on important but non-urgent tasks. Let me give you an example. So I think we can all agree that mentorship is hugely important. You can try to learn things on your own, or you could rapidly accelerate your learnings by working with a mentor. The problem is, most people never actually reach out to any mentors, because reaching out to a mentor is an important but non-urgent task. It's a task that's going to be here for you today, tomorrow, and in 6 weeks. And nothing bad is going to happen to you because you didn't reach out to those mentors. But you're also not going to get any of that upside. And that's the problem. And that's why so many people have these big, massive goals that just sit on the back burner of their lives, and then they never end up actually accomplishing them. Other examples of important but non-urgent tasks include networking, spending time with friends and family, creating a startup, exercising. These are the types of goals that can have massive exponential impacts on your life. So the second principle to making the next 100 days the best of your life is to harmonize your goals. I used to make this mistake all the time where I tried to balance my goals. I thought that if I added one good thing in my life, it probably meant I had to take away another. Harmony implies that the good things in your life, the goals in your life, can work together and be mutually reinforcing. Let me share with you how I'm trying to harmonize the goals in my life. So the most important goal in my life right now is to attract and sign new clients to my marketing agency. For me, my self-worth is so closely tied to the success of the company that I helped start. If the company isn't doing well, it's hard for me to enjoy other elements of my life. But on the flip side, when the company is doing well, I start to give myself permission to have more fun. Let me give you an example. So, have you ever skipped out on work so you could spend time with friends? But then when you're with those friends, you just think about work the whole time. It feels awful. So being productive at work and making progress is a critical first goal for me because it unlocks happiness in other elements of my life. So my second goal is to use that feeling of permission to have more fun. As a friend once told me, you need to take fun seriously. And for that reason, I schedule fun into my week. So when I was in my 20s, I had a major startup failure and I wouldn't allow myself to spend time with friends. They would reach out, but I would just tell them I was busy. And it was mostly because I was, one, embarrassed that the company was failing, but two, I knew that if I was spending time with them, I was just gonna feel worse about myself and even more guilty that the company was failing in the first place. And for that reason, I lost a lot of friends. It wasn't like the relationships were gone, they just lost their ease. So I'm focusing my second goal on being intentional and changing that and spending time with more friends and having more fun. Notice how those goals were mutually reinforcing. They didn't work against each other. Like, for example, I wasn't trying to spend less time at work so I could have more fun. Instead, I was trying to be more productive at work so I could be more present while I was spending time with friends. They're mutually reinforcing. So my third goal is to make more friends. So as I shared, I don't have a ton of friends today. I sort of lost them as I went into this intense work mode throughout my 20s. And I've sort of lost that make friends muscle, and I need to get it back. So I need to work that into my daily routine. So I'm putting myself in more social situations and forcing myself to get uncomfortable and try to meet people who have shared interests to my own. And fourth, because I'm not always confident in these social settings, I want to make sure that I'm presenting myself in a way that I feel really confident. So I'm starting to go to the gym more. And that's my fourth goal, is to consistently exercise so that when I show up, I feel confident and I'm presenting myself in a way where I'm not in my head the whole time and I'm actually there and building relationships. See how those four things work together rather than balance each other out? Productivity at work makes me happy and gives me the permission to spend time with more friends. And because I don't have a ton of friends today, I'm putting myself into more networking and social situations. And to make sure that I show up and I'm present and I'm confident when I'm there, I'm going to the gym. These four goals work together rather than balance one another out. And this all sounds great. It's an awesome vision for 100 days, but how am I going to consistently stick with it? And this is where you stop fighting your subconscious mind with brute force, but instead you channel your inner judo master and you use the momentum of your mind against itself. So the last principle to making the next 100 days the best of your life is to burn the ships. And if you're not familiar with the term burning the ships, what it essentially means is that you do something that makes it impossible for you to turn back and quit. And the term burn the ships, it's thousands of years old, and it all starts with Alexander the Great. So he wants to go and conquer the Persian Empire, and the Persians are one of his biggest enemies. So when he and his men sail up to the Persian shores, he asks his men to get out, and he tells them to burn the ships, literally set them on fire. And what he wants, and this is brilliant, is he wants his men to fight like their lives depend on it, because it does. And they end up winning. The same can apply to your pursuit of a better life. In my life, and when I tell people this, they always think it's kind of crazy, but it works. So each day I start by creating a to-do list, and at the top of that to-do list, I put an ultimatum. And that ultimatum is some super undesirable task that I have to do if I don't complete the to-do list by a certain time. So for example, if I don't finish everything by 6 p.m., I have to go run 10 miles. And I really don't want to run 10 miles. Do you know how hard I'm working in the last few hours of the afternoon to make sure that I don't have to go out and run 10 miles? There is no Instagram. There is no scrolling. There's no wasted time. There is just pure focus on completing the goals. Now, I can guess what a lot of people might be thinking. You're more motivated by positive reinforcement. So like going out to a dinner because you completed your to-do list will make you want to do the to-do list more. But in Kelly Goldstein and Ravi Dar's 2013 study, what they found is individuals are less motivated when an incentive is framed as a means to accrue a gain as compared when the same incentive is framed as a means to avoid a loss. And more importantly, what they found is that people's intuition about whether negative or positive reinforcement is going to be more impactful was actually flipped. We find that people's intuition about when they will be motivated has the opposite pattern, with people predicting that positively framed incentives will be more motivating than negatively framed incentives. Don't fall into the trap of trying to use rewards to complete your to-do list. I've tried it. It just doesn't work long term. Day to day, completing that to-do list and avoiding that 10-mile run, that's the prize. And if you do that day in, day out for 100 days, man, you're going to be unstoppable. Your life is going to be totally changed. You must burn the ships. So that's it. The 4 steps to making the next 100 days the best of your life. Understand why you're really comfortable being the day 0 version of yourself. Then prioritize important but non-urgent goals. Harmonize those goals in step 3. And then finally, step 4, burn the ships. Let me know in the comments below how you plan to make the next 100 days the best of your life. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button and see you next time.